Hi everyone! I've always wanted to talk about how to deal with disappointments. It's such a recurring thing in our lives, and figuring out a way how to deal with it will be such a great help. Actually, a few days ago, my friend told me how she deals with her disappointment. She said she usually lists down the reasons why she felt that way and the possible action steps that she can take in order not to feel that way anymore or in order not to feel that way again. When I first heard it, I thought it was too easy. It sounded like a typical way of solving a problem. But then I thought about it again, and she's right. I've never actually done it that way, and I think it's true for most people. Rarely do you actually confront that feeling of disappointment. Rarely do you actually reflect why it happened. And rarely do you actually think about what to do in order not to feel that way again. It's just so easy to wallow in that feeling of disappointment and let things be. And that is one of the reasons why it's so hard to get out of that negative state because you basically end up doing exactly nothing. At least that's what usually happens to me. So this time, I figured I would try my friend's suggestion. So it's actually a very timely thing to do because I had been feeling disappointed lately. And while I was reflecting, because I was doing it in Notion, I ended up creating a very simple template which I thought I would show and share to you today, which you can download by the way for free using the link in the description below. So when you first duplicate this template, you will be taken to this blank page with just the name and this template button. So the name comeback recipe is, I know, is a little bit cheesy, but it is what I'm trying to do at the moment. I am trying to come back, to make a comeback from my feeling of disappointments. So let's just move on from the name and get on with the template. So the only thing you actually need to do is click this template button. What am I disappointed with and how can I turn things around? So when you click this, a call out block will pop up and you can replace this one with today's date because I like associating entries or records with dates because we're never going to be the same person as we are at this moment. So in the future, it's amazing to look back and see what your previous self was thinking. So replace this with today's date and then expand the toggle. So you just go through the questionnaires or the template and just fill them out. So I actually filled out this template a while ago and this is what I came up with. So basically my main disappointment is that I haven't been making as much progress as I've wanted on my goals. And some trivial things actually came up like I was spending a lot of time on Twitter and I was constantly watching Australian Idol. So these reasons seem so shallow, but they are big contributors to why I feel disappointed. So like going through this template, the more I asked myself why, the more it became clear that there was something else underneath. So I was stressed out from work, and every time I got home, I just want to not be stressed. Just thinking about working on my goals feels like it'll just add to my stress, so I didn't. So if you look at it in another angle, this feels justified, but if you want to change, then you have to go further. Like you have to think of how you can get out of that disappointment state, right? So what do you want now? So I spell it out. I want to move on from something that's already done and instead get back on track with my goals. So how do I actually do that? So the solutions to our problems aren't actually like unknown. They already exist. Like for this template itself, it basically says your solution is the reasons why you were disappointed in the first place. So how can I move on from something that's already done? So I will be intentional about where I use my time. I will set aside non-negotiable time just to work on my goals. So if you notice, it's pretty much from the first why, so from this box. And then you have to go further again because if you can just say you will be intentional, then won't it be too easy? But of course, even if you plan, you might end up doing something else like I did. So what will you do? So you have to have a backup thing. So I put here lesson, tutor usage time, like extreme, set a usage limit, or like stop watching Australian Idol, or I even put a little compromise. But even if I planned all of this, things can still go wrong, right? Like in my third box, if that wasn't in the plan, if Twitter and Australian Idol weren't in the plan, so why did I do it? Because I was stressed out. So if so, the third prompt is basically to address this. If you run into the same situation again, what will you change so it won't happen again? So basically, I'll imagine what will happen if I keep doing it. That a few days later, if I just let how I feel dictate what I do or not do, then I would be back to the same place and I would be disappointed again. So while the template is not actually perfect, the act of reflecting and jotting down your thoughts, the act of being honest with yourself, which you probably rarely do, be honest, all of this will actually help in clearing up that disappointment. Why? First, because it becomes clear why you're disappointed. Before this, it may just be a vague feeling that you don't really know how to get out of. The act of filling out this template forces you to think about your actions, what part you played in arriving to this feeling of disappointment, and what you can actually do going forward to resolve this. So instead of disappointment being just a situation, a hazy feeling, or an abstract thing that you can't grasp, you actually name it, you define it, and in the end, you solve it. Though, of course, the solution won't always be as easy as we'd like, but I think this is a good starting point. So you don't actually need this template to reflect and jot down your thoughts. You can use any good old paper and pencil, but then you'd have to keep track of everything manually. So why not take advantage of Notion? And because you're already here, download the template using the link below because it's absolutely free. And that's it. This is Raya signing off. See you next time.